Hi, Ken again. It's currently 2:08 p.m. October 22nd, Tuesday. This is another video from Slam Dunk Sloppy Joe Productions, basically. I wanted to say something very quickly. The library where I get my internet access is going to be closing here fairly quickly. I don't have a choice but to warp speed anything and everything I do. So, what I'm saying really comes up short to what I'd like to actually say in an extended way. I started reading this book last night, Limitless Mind by Russell Targ. He's a guy at the Stanford Research Institute that started this whole thing, as I understand it, with ESP and remote viewing. And I read through the first 60 pages or so, just skimmed it, and got to tell you something. He makes it a little bit more complicated than what it is. Once you have, and if you've been cranked up by Essex, you know this to be true. I don't know about the other effects of using another consultant, but for me, I basically started to get into remote viewing right away. And in this book, he talks about the new beginner, focusing on objects off in the distance somewhere and seeing if you can figure out what where it's located and with the contours of it and all that. And it's like, we don't do that, do we? If you've been cranked up, you're remote viewing right away. This must be a good book. It's a line of, how many books has he made? Looks like he's made, what, 3, 4, 5 books or something. And what's missing from the start is what I learned right away, and that is that instead of focusing on an object, what one should be doing is focusing on the 5 senses. The seeing, smelling, hearing, taste, and touch that you use in everyday living to feel yourself around in public. This is crucial. You got to listen to this, okay? What I learned when I was doing, what do you call it, astral projection. I still don't have a clear identification or description or definition of what it's all about, but when I do astral projection, I'm actually floating through things. I'm going through anything and everything that I see around me, only because after a lifetime of sensing life around me, using your 5 senses, seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, touching, I know how to touch, I know how to embrace, I know how to integrate myself with these things. I'm looking at the porch here in front of the Lamb Creek School Priest Lake Library, and I can astral project through the wood because I've tasted wood before. I've smelt it while doing carpentry. I've swept porches, so I know what the dirt tastes like even in my mouth. And I can hear the porch as I walk across it. Well, the mind is incredible. Your mind recalls and remembers all this sensation. And I use all 5 of these senses when I remote view now. When I go into Mount Hood, and I don't have an interviewer to correct me on this, like Essex, or I don't know, maybe Frank Zoo. I know Ileana from the Awakening Cosmic Reality Show. She's so strong in her remote viewing abilities that she has friends that verify while she's remote viewing that what she says is true. Now, when I go into Mount Hood, and I don't know what it is. I'm fixated on that. I don't want to go anywhere else and remote view. In a way, I have to admit, I'm not really attracted to remote viewing. I don't see a purpose of it. For me, in my case, maybe for you, yeah. But I'm really connected to this physiology, physiokinetics, which is blowing me away, and it gets stronger and stronger every day, and I have much, much more to say in videos in the future about this stuff. And everybody, and I'm telling you, everybody ought to know this stuff. But I don't have the pedigree, you know, to convince people that I'm worth listening to. So if you're lucky enough, and this isn't arrogance rising, if you're lucky enough to look at my videos, you're going to learn something. I'm going to make a concerted effort to go way beyond boundaries and talk about stuff nobody else has ever talked about before. And I'm not arrogant. I just have this stuff that I need to get out to people. So where was I? I was talking about remote viewing. And so in remote viewing in Mount Hood, another thing I noticed, because you can sense 5 different ways and more, of course, well, anyway, I won't get into that, but the first thing I notice when I enter that portal, and it's right here, I can go anytime, and it's weird, I understand. It's weird. When I go into it, I can look around, obviously, but unbelievably, the first sense that I recognize is taste. Who would ever think that one would taste a scenario? Taste and then smell. They interact with each other. In actuality, when you feel, the word feel conveys all 5 senses at the same time. But when you remote view, you're restricted somewhat. And I edge into what I'm doing when I'm remote viewing a Mount Hood, again, by the taste and the smell. I taste the loading dock that the spaceships arrive on, and I can taste and feel the texture of the landing platform there, and the air is acrid. Did I talk about all this stuff before in another video? Well, what I'm trying to convey is, in my opinion, you know, this book in particular, Limitless Mind, I don't know if it's worth going through. You're going to know this stuff already. You know, I should reserve comment until I finish the book. You know, this guy is brilliant, and he's world-renowned. Russell Targ is his name, T-A-R-G. And I'm going to finish the book, and then I'll come back and I'll talk about it as it regards my experience. So if you guys are remote viewing at this point, you know, put out a video or something and explain this stuff in your case, because maybe, I don't know, maybe at somewhere in the rest of the book he talks about the 5 senses, but you all should have no problem remote viewing and seeing something other than just objects. See scenarios. You know, I recall when Frank Zhu, Z-H-U, started talking about his remote viewing abilities, and he talked at one point about being pursued by a couple of individuals while he was walking across the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I know what it's like to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge, smelling the salted air, feeling the rumble of the cars rolling next to me on a four-lane highway there. And so as he was speaking, I could follow him. I could smell, I could taste, I could hear, I could see what was going on. And even touch. I can touch the rails, the multicolored, orange-colored, painted iron rails that have been painted so many times to protect it from the rust. And I guess it made all the difference in the world in listening to him remote view for me. And I think ever since having that experience, I just have continued that ritual that whatever I do, astral projection wise or remote view, I inject those 5 senses somehow. And I've been learning which ones are the most dominant. The taste and the smelling of all things. So what else can I say about about this video as I move into, I don't know, I'm outside and I can't even see how much time I've spent doing this video. But I'm going into wintertime up here in northern Idaho, and it's getting really cold. And I think what I'm going to do is, at some point in the future when there's snow up here, just kind of trek around the lake or places that are absolutely gorgeous, where I could sit down on a log and see a panoramic view of the mountains and comment on things. But here I am today at the library and trying to crank this out before they shut me out of the library. I'm going to leave everybody with the thoughts that I put forth. Please, please recognize your senses are as well, they're characteristics when you remote view or astral project, but they're just dominating. They should be dominating in your attempts to learn the art of remote viewing. Anyway, got my mummy bag type jacket on from Wiggies.com. They make the most outstanding ice and snow jackets and pants and stuff. Anyway, I'm just jibber jabbering. So again, excuse me for being short and brief on what I have to say, and it's just I don't have a choice with the lack of internet connection I have, and I'm probably always going to be bemoaning the fact as I do each video. So just understand and just let it go. It's just the way it's going to have to be. I'm just upset that I can't have, for the meantime, Starlink and have continuous internet attachment, whatever you call it, connection. So, okay, so I gotta turn this sucker off, and again, this is another production from Slam Dunk Shoppy Joe Productions, I guess. I should identify that as my official production company, since my videos won't be as long as they could be. Anyway, have a great day.